Alright guys, what's going on? It's Jack and welcome back to another video and welcome to Halo Infinite. Now in this video I'm going to give my first couple quick little thoughts on the game so far now that it's been released and that I've gotten some time with it, and then the most important thing and the nitty gritty of this video is I am going to be giving some feedback to 343 because their ears are definitely open and they are just pretty much going to be awaiting feedback, especially now, from now until launch. And of course, this is a game that's supposed to be supported for many years on end. They said 10 years, but we'll see what happens and how that ends up being. But until then, and until release, I think this is a very crucial time over the next 3 weeks. And I have a few requests and recommendations that are not too crazy. They're very reasonable. They can definitely be done by launch. And I am also not the only player to have some of these requests. Now, granted, one or two of these requests are a little bit more personal to me, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only player. But for the most part, the majority of the requests that I have in this one is something that I truly believe makes sense and definitely belongs in the game, and that is very reasonable to make it by launch. Now, first and foremost, my initial thoughts of the game is that it is great. It is awesome. It is a lot of fun to play. It is very addictive. It's very smooth, and it's a massive improvement over Halo 5, actually, because with Halo 5, although Halo 5 was a great game, I played to level 146 in that game, and Halo wasn't even my main game at the time, and I still put in a ton of time into the game, and I made it to 146. So and 152 was being the max, and level 1000 prestige in Call of Duty is nothing compared to 152 in Halo 5. So I can tell you that overall, from a gameplay perspective, it is an improvement because a lot of players did not like the advanced movement, and it was a little bit too far in terms of what Halo is at its core. So they managed to balance it out to where you can still have it, but it's more of a pickup. It's a power pickup, and most people are playing traditional Halo, basically. It's, for the most part, it's boots on the ground, so to speak, for a Halo. You know, the jumps are floaty and everything like that, but for the most part, it's boots on the ground, positioning and the weapons and stuff like that, whether you choose to attack or not, is still a thing. Is that it's always been Halo. Objective-based gameplay is very important. Teamwork is very important. So Halo's foundation is very much at the core of this, and the pacing of this game has been balanced in terms of the way it works, which is awesome. I think it's great that the shields are no longer attached to your sprint, which is awesome, but at the same time, sprint in and of itself is not as crazy as it used to be in previous Halos. So when you look at it overall, the pacing in terms of how fast first-person shooters are today and with what Halo is at its core, I think they managed to get the balance really well. So weapons and game modes are fun. Ranked is also fun and so far balanced. Obviously, a few pros said that there's a few things that are going to need to be changed. There's no doubt that that's going to happen in my mind. There's lots of settings and options in terms of customizing your controller and stuff like that to the controls. So they can be a little bit confusing, but once you get it down, which I'm still figuring out myself, once you get it down, I think you can have everything exactly the way you want it, which is great. And they also gave the player plenty of tools in order to help the player get better. Obviously, you could play against bots, custom games against bots, academy with teammates playing against bots and stuff like that. If there's a specific weapon that you need to work on that you specifically think is your weakness, you can definitely do that. And after so many years in Halo, it's finally nice to have that. So again, all the tools are there. So if you want to get better, the tools are definitely there. And of course, the customization is nice in terms of how you can customize your weapons, your Spartan and all that stuff, the Warthog and everything like that. And okay, so those are my brief basic thoughts on that. Now, time to get on to feedback with this, and I'm going to get right into it. So in ranked play, you get to choose the matchmaking in terms of whether you get matched with other solo or duo players, or whether it's open to where you can match up against full teams, even though you might be playing solo. Now, I think that option needs to be put into social as well. So for those of you guys that aren't as quite familiar, social is basically what we call pubs in Call of Duty. So with the social playlist, that needs to be an option as well. There's also in ranked the option to basically match against other inputs that are similar to the same as yours. In other words, do you want to play against fellow mouse and keyboard players, or do you want to play against fellow controller users? So in terms of that in pubs, I can understand why it's not as important to have that as an option, but I think it should be an option, but we'll see. I think there's going to be plenty of people playing this game. It is a free-to-play game, and again, as time goes on, it's going to be supported even more with additional game modes and stuff like that. And speaking of game modes, there needs to be a Team Deathmatch /Slayer only playlist. Team Deathmatch or Slayer is the most popular playlist in Halo, as well as the most popular game mode in first-person shooters. Simple as that. So for that not to be an option in this game really is, a lot of players would consider that a sin. That's for sure. SWAT, I think, needs to be in the game as well, which is basically which helps with the pacing for people that enjoy a much faster time to kill. And what SWAT is, basically one headshot, bam, you're dead. And if it's not a headshot, then just a handful of body shots will kill faster, because there's no shields in comparison to the regular playlist, which there are shields. So for people that enjoy that type of pacing, I think that would be really great, and I think it would invite even more players to your game. Even though the pacing in this game, in my opinion, is faster than your classic Halo games, the foundation is still there. But at the same time, for people that really enjoy that sort of thing, I think SWAT needs to be added into the social playlist. And of course, free-for-all, whether you put it in ranked or whether you put it in the social playlist as a rumble pit, free-for-all, in my opinion, has a place in this game. I know that free-for-all is not necessarily the most popular playlist in terms of first-person shooters in general, and I guess it just depends on the first-person shooter as well, because Slayer, also known as Team Deathmatch, is a competitive game mode, which it's not in Call of Duty, and the same thing comes with free-for-all. Free-for-all is not a competitive game mode, but in Halo it is. I remember in Halo 4 and in Halo 5 watching professional players compete in official tournaments, specifically in Halo 4. I remember that more clearly than I did in Halo 5. So again, free-for-all definitely belongs in here. And also a Precision Slayer playlist would be nice, to where you can start with a BR and then the sidekick as opposed to the AR or whatnot. Again, this is something for me personally, as well as for the OBJs as well. And of course, the Battle Pass system and the Progression XP system. There is no XP system, basically. The progression, the Battle Pass system really needs to be adjusted, because you could play this game for 3 hours and only progress like 3 or 4 Battle Pass tiers, which is absolutely unacceptable. And they've already said that they're looking into this, but I think there should be more ways in order for you to progress beyond just challenges. There needs to be an XP system put in, so that way people can feel like they're constantly progressing. And at the same time, when you have that feedback, especially on screen, it'll make the game even more addictive. I know for most players, the gameplay is the core of what matters, absolutely, and this game certainly has that. But I think for a lot of the casual players that are basically looking for more ways to get rewarded, even in the most subtle ways, I think some sort of XP feedback or something like that to make them feel like that would be something that I think is a reasonable thing to request, as well as for the players that are just grinding this game as well. They want to see how far they're getting, and of course to be rewarded for everything they're doing, whether they're playing the objective or slaying or both. And but yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it, guys. That's my feedback, and those are my initial thoughts in the game. It is a lot of fun, and I highly recommend you give it a shot. And from here to launch and beyond, the game is only going to get better, and I have faith in the developers as well. So anyway, that's all I got for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.